For most of human history, sleep was seen as a passive state, a necessary downtime for the body to repair itself, a temporary loss of consciousness. Modern neuroscience, however, reveals a state far more complex and active, a hidden reality where the brain is more energetic, more creative, and in some ways, more conscious than during waking life. The key to this hidden world is REM, rapid eye movement, sleep. This stage is the gateway. During REM, the body is paralyzed, atonia, but the brain waves resemble those of a wide-awake, focused mind. The visual cortex is highly active, memory consolidation is in full swing, and logic is suspended. This paradox suggests that sleep is not a shutdown, it is a redirected consciousness, a temporary disconnection from the physical body to engage with an information field. Neuroscientists utilize EEG and fMRI to map this nocturnal landscape. The brain's electrical activity during REM sleep is characterized by high-frequency theta waves associated with deep meditation and memory processing, and bursts of gamma waves associated with high-level cognitive binding. The suspension of the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the brain's logical, critical, and self-monitoring center, is crucial. By temporarily turning off the internal critic, the brain is allowed to access and integrate data without the constraint of linear waking logic. Dreams, therefore, are the mind's uncensored attempt to process and visualize nonlinear information. The sheer biological necessity of dreaming confirms its vital function. Studies show that preventing REM sleep leads to severe cognitive and emotional degradation, the REM rebound effect. From a coding perspective, the mind uses sleep for several critical operations: data consolidation, the transfer of short-term memories or episodic data into long-term storage, optimizing the waking database; emotional debugging, the processing of charged emotional data in a safe, deactivated environment, reducing the emotional charge for future reference; and predictive simulation. The brain generates complex, low-stakes scenarios to prepare the organism for future threats or opportunities, suggesting dreams act as a predictive algorithm for waking reality. Sleep is thus revealed as the mind's most critical maintenance and coding phase, but the nature of the symbols used in this coding suggests the information source is anything but purely biological. Part 2. Lucid Dreaming, Hacking the Reality Code. The concept of lucid dreaming, the state of becoming fully aware that one is dreaming while still within the dream, was long dismissed as a subjective hallucination. However, pioneering work by researchers like Stephen LaBerge in the 1970s and 80s provided objective, verifiable proof. Using electrooculography during polysomnography-verified REM sleep, experienced lucid dreamers were able to perform prearranged eye movement signals, for example, left-right, left-right, to communicate with the outside world while asleep. This proved conclusively that a portion of the waking consciousness, metacognition, is active during the dream state. Lucid dreaming is a unique, distinct state of consciousness characterized by high-frequency beta-1 and gamma oscillations. With the ability to signal established, the path opened to real-time two-way communication. Experiments known as interactive dreaming demonstrated that an awake researcher could present a simple stimulus, like a mathematical problem or a simple light flash, to the sleeping lucid dreamer, and the dreamer could process the information and signal the answer back using the eye movements. More radically, some startups claim to have achieved the first successful dream-to-dream communication, an unverified claim lacking peer review, yet compelling for the narrative. These claims suggest that specialized equipment was used to beam a word created through a unique language between two people asleep in separate homes, indicating a potential direct informational bridge between human minds during sleep. The lucid dream state is often described as a controlled, self-directed simulation. Advanced lucid dreamers utilize this space not just for pleasure, such as flying or wish fulfillment, but for deep exploration, skill training, practicing complex motor or cognitive skills in the dream state, which later translates into measurable improvement in waking life, confronting fear, safely processing deep-seated psychological trauma by consciously confronting dream representations of fear. The void. Some experienced dreamers report passing through the visual dreamscape into a state of pure, imageless consciousness, often described as a void, or a space filled with abstract geometric patterns and buzzing particles, the cosmic snow. This suggests that the symbolic dream narrative is merely a filter, and behind it lies the raw, energetic, informational substance of the consciousness field. Lucid dreaming is the ultimate user interface for interacting with the raw data stream of reality. Part 3. Shared dreams and the networked mind. The phenomenon of shared dreams, where two or more individuals report having the same or highly similar dream elements, is the strongest evidence that the dreaming mind is not entirely isolated. Meshing dreams. These are the most common, where two people, usually emotionally close, like partners or family members, share key settings, themes, or emotional tones, often after a shared experience or trauma. Exact synchronization are rarer but more profound, are cases where individuals report experiencing the same sequence of events, dialogue, or even feeling the same physical sensations. The psychological interpretation is that these are simple reflections of shared emotional contexts, but the cosmic code interpretation is that the minds are operating on a synchronized neural wavelength during REM sleep, temporarily linking their quantum or electrical fields. The most compelling category is the terminal consensus or grief dream. This occurs when multiple family members or close friends sleeping in different locations report dreaming of a deceased loved one on the night of or shortly after their death. Crucially, the message received is often identical: a phrase of peace, a goodbye, or the confirmation of their passing. If the dream is merely internal processing, why is the message across multiple separate consciousnesses the same? This suggests that the dying or recently deceased person's consciousness acts as a final, powerful broadcast signal sent through the non-local consciousness field, which the recipient minds, tuned by emotional closeness, pick up during the low-noise environment of REM sleep. The claims of dream-to-dream technology, while unverified, point to a serious investigative path: non-local dream communication. If the dream state truly provides access to a unified consciousness field, as suggested by idealism and some quantum theories, then external technology might not be necessary. The key would be intentional synchronization. Two experienced lucid dreamers intending to meet at a specific coordinates, a known location in the dreamscape, or a shared visualization before falling asleep. The shared dream is then proof of the mind's ability to operate as a receiver and transmitter outside the physical body.
Part 4. The Ancient Tradition, Dream Incubation and Divine Messages. The idea of dreams as an informational channel is not new. It is the oldest form of human divination. Ancient cultures, from Mesopotamia and Egypt to Greece and Tibet, utilized specific rituals to solicit, receive, and interpret dreams. Incubation. This practice involved sleeping in a sacred place, a temple, shrine, or special chamber, particularly those dedicated to the Greek god of medicine, Asclepius, with the specific intention of receiving guidance, healing, or prophecy. This practice was effectively a formalized, intentional, lucid dreaming technique. Divine messengers. Dreams were commonly classified into clear message dreams, where a god or respectable figure speaks in plain language, and symbolic dreams, requiring interpretation by a priest or oniromancer. The belief was consistent. The dreamer's soul temporarily left the body to travel to the supernatural world and receive direct intelligence from the divine. The most powerful dreams in antiquity were prophetic dreams, which influenced empires and major historical decisions. The Epic of Gilgamesh, Mesopotamia, contains numerous accounts of prophetic dreams foretelling the arrival of companions or encounters with dangerous giants, providing explicit guidance for the king's actions. The Pharaoh's Dream, Ancient Egypt or Old Testament. Joseph's interpretation of the Pharaoh's dream, 7 fat cows followed by 7 lean cows, led to the 7-year storage of grain, saving an entire civilization from famine. This suggests that the dream code contains predictive economic and climatic data. These accounts confirm that the ancients believed the dream state provided access to deterministic future data, information that could alter fate, suggesting that the dream field is a space where the linear constraint of time is removed. The Tibetan Buddhist practice of dream yoga elevates the control of the dream state to a supreme spiritual practice. Recognizing illusion. The primary goal is to recognize the illusory nature of the dream state, lucidity, to train the mind to recognize the illusory nature of waking life, maya. Navigating the bardo. Ultimate mastery allows the practitioner to navigate the bardo, the transitional state between death and rebirth, consciously. By maintaining lucidity in the dream, the sleep bardo, the mind is trained to remain lucid after death, the death bardo. This is the most profound claim. The dream state is not just a portal to information, but the training ground for immortality, the mind using the sleep state to prepare for its ultimate, final transition. Part 5. The symbolic language, archetypes, and the collective unconscious. Modern psychology offers 2 powerful contrasting lenses for interpreting the dream code. Freud, the mask. Dreams are the royal road to the unconscious, but their content is a wish fulfillment hidden by a censor. The dream's manifest content, what we remember, is a symbolic mask for the latent content, the hidden, forbidden desire. The code is personal, rooted in trauma and repressed desire. Jung, the message. Dreams are the mind's honest and direct attempt at wholeness, individuation. They are communication from the deeper, non-personal self. The code is universal, speaking through archetypes. Example, the shadow, the great mother, the wise old man. The Jungian view aligns powerfully with the cosmic code hypothesis. If the mind connects to a universal information field, it would naturally use universal symbols, archetypes, that resonate across all cultures and time periods. Archetypal analysis of global dream dictionaries reveals consistent cross-cultural symbolism. Water almost universally represents the unconscious or the emotional state. Dreaming of a calm sea is emotional peace. A tidal wave is a surge of emotional data. Houses represent the self or the current psychological state. The foundation is core beliefs. The attic is higher consciousness or hidden ideas. Flying represents liberation, transcendence, and freedom from physical constraints. This universal vocabulary suggests that the symbolism is not arbitrary, but the mind's agreed-upon rendering language for processing high-level, nonlinear information from the collective unconscious, Jung's term for the shared informational layer of humanity. Beyond prophecy and symbolism, the dream is a psychological self-correction mechanism. Jung called this the transcendence function. When the conscious mind holds an extreme or one-sided view, a psychological imbalance, the dream automatically generates a powerful compensating image or scenario to force the conscious mind towards a synthesis or resolution. The dream code is designed to debug the human psyche, ensuring the integrity and balance of the individual's waking operating system. The dream is, in essence, a nightly software update for the soul.
Part 6. The Quantum Link, Consciousness Field and Dreaming. The most radical theories connect the dreaming mind directly to the quantum consciousness field, as discussed in the previous work. The REM state, with its unique electrical signature and suspended logic, is seen as the optimal state for accessing non-local information. The ZPF access, the deep relaxation and theta wave activity of REM sleep may allow the brain to synchronize with the zero-point field or quantum vacuum, the universal, non-local information field. Quantum entanglement. If minds are quantum entangled, the lack of sensory noise and critical logic during REM allows this entanglement to surface as shared dreams or accurate premonitions. The dream is the unfiltered, non-local data stream. The dream state is the mind's quantum tuner, allowing it to receive signals from outside the brain's physical boundaries. If the universe is holographic, as per the holographic principle, where all information about the 3D world is encoded on a 2D surface, then the dream state may be the mind's direct interaction with this informational boundary. In the dream, we manipulate gravity, time, and identity instantly, an ability that mirrors the control possible within a digitally rendered environment. When we become lucid, we are accessing the source code of our localized reality. The content of the dream is not made up. It is the mind downloading and processing fragments of the holographic reality code from the informational boundary. Experiments by Stephen LaBerge using the eye movement signaling technique showed that time perception during lucid dreams is remarkably similar to waking life, suggesting a direct, one-to-one correlation with the brain's internal clock rate. However, subjective experience often suggests complex, long narratives can be experienced in minutes. This paradox points to data compression. The brain is processing information at an accelerated rate, experiencing a vast, detailed narrative that can be instantly compressed upon waking. The dream is not a flow of linear time. It is a simultaneous data burst that the brain's narrative function imposes linearity upon. Part 7. The Future of the Code, Technological Augmentation. The 21st century has seen a surge in technology aimed at interacting with the dream state. TDCs, transcranial direct current stimulation, devices that use mild electrical currents to stimulate the prefrontal cortex to increase the likelihood of entering a lucid state. Biometric headbands, sleep trackers that use EEG sensors to detect the onset of REM sleep, delivering audio cues, tones, or spoken affirmations to the wearer's earbuds at the precise moment to trigger lucidity, the MILD technique refined. This technology proves that the dream state can be reliably hacked and induced. We are moving from passively receiving the dream code to actively requesting and controlling the dream environment. The potential for dream-to-dream communication raises profound ethical and psychological questions. Consent in sleep. If information can be beamed into a sleeping mind, does the concept of mental privacy cease to exist? Can a person truly consent to a dream experience? Weaponizing dreams. Could this technology be used for targeted propaganda, psychological manipulation, or the implantation of false memories or commands during the mind's most vulnerable, suggestible state? The dream code is the final frontier, but it is also a dangerous portal into the core of human consciousness that requires absolute ethical vigilance. The most profound application lies in using the dream state as a universal translator. If the dream code, the language of archetypes, symbols, and deep feeling, is the common tongue of the collective unconscious, then two people from different cultures, separated by language, could potentially communicate complex ideas and emotions directly through their synchronized dream experiences, bypassing the limitations of waking language. The dream is the native language of the soul. Part 8. Conclusion. The message is us. The journey through the dream code reveals a simple truth. The most profound messages hidden in human sleep are messages from the self to the self. Every symbol, every fear, every flight of fancy in the dream is the deepest part of the mind communicating with the surface consciousness, attempting to guide, heal, and correct. The dream is an instantaneous mirror of the soul's current balance and trajectory. The ancient traditions of Tibet and the modern laboratories of neuroscience share one urgent command: become lucid. The moment of lucidity is the moment we stop being a passive subject of the dream or waking narrative and become the active author. It is the moment the external world, the dream, becomes the internal world, the mind. This realization is the key to unlocking the power of the dream code. If the universe is an enormous quantum code, then the dream state is the mind's nightly access point to the command prompt. It is where we see the code unfiltered, where we connect to the non-local source, and where we practice the ultimate act of creation, the conscious authorship of our reality. The message is clear. Wake up in your dream so you can wake up in your life. The code is waiting.